Mm, all right, we are live. Takes some seconds. Cool. So if yeah, we'll just go through this and you guys can share your findings and ideas.
All right, so I
All
guess I have to get started. Can you go like to the next? Yeah, like here I started like this is Brasilia Cathedral here in Brazil, which Pedro showed today, and it was like trying to mix with a sort of heaven image, and I got this mixture. And the second experiment, I tried like to, what if I get two statues and try to align them and try to mix it, but I guess it did not work out so much. Then the next experiment, go to the next slide. I thought these ones were kind of interesting because I was trying to match like a drawing with a picture of a building, and it seems like it enhances the drawing, you know, in some sort of way. And I tried like with different styles. Like I got two drawings. Go to the next slide. And it could work out too. I thought it's as Daniel suggested. I put it more iterations, and it got like better. Then I tried to put two styles and use the default iterations, but it doesn't seem like it got much better. Like it's very close to the image we had before. And on the next one, I changed the drawing and used the same input. And it seems like on these experiments and on next one, it seems like when images are aligned in some way, they seem to like the results seem to get better. Because if we see the next experiment, it's like it doesn't seem like that good, all right? But it's kind of interesting because you see the tree in the target image or the style image, we don't have any trees, right? We have some bushes there, but it could the algorithm could figure out that there is a tree there, and I wrote there it's not that good, but the tree is awesome. And here I have more iterations, and here we have less iterations, and the results doesn't get like much better. Uh, but you, as Daniel said, we can see like in the previous experiment we had like a little bit more of details, and in this one it's like not so much. And I think that this is the last one, I guess. Yeah.
Great. I think like there are some learnings which like we could also keep in mind for other experiments. How like with iterations, some times like it doesn't produce drastic different results, and also like the alignment of input and target is like producing more cohesive results. So, pretty
Yeah.
good.
It's interesting how it like picks the tree up from like the sketch. Like that's kind of at least you would think that it's kind of more or less acting more like a pix or something in that sense. Which is kind of like even there too, right? Like you can kind of see like
Mhm.
it's always picking the trees. So that's kind of interesting. But that image is kind of cool looking too.
It's
You know what? Yeah.
I think it's a fun tool. Like if we are drawing, designing something, and we can try that drawing with like different textures, with different materials, or we're trying to design something. Oh, I want to design a building with these materials that goes like to this side of design, and we can use that. Right?
Yeah. I it looks like based on the pre-trained model, it has developed biasness of okay, if it's a straight vertical line with this kind of zigzags, this must be tree. So it's mapping this to that. So sometimes biasness helps.
But
And
it's
the
also
three
interesting how
ideas.
this
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like even like the camera perspective, right? Like it sort of is trying to like no, not this one, but the other one that's kind of more like mismatched camera perspectives. Like it's trying to align like those cameras perspectives in some way. And I think that's like if you want to like explore it more like architectural, that's kind of where it becomes like a little bit more interesting, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Now, about the ideas, these are the ideas we're going to use today, right? With the clip experiment.
Today and tomorrow, like we'll build up a architectural design using
Yeah.
based on.
I
Mm,
choose like these themes because Buckminster Fuller is an architect I like so much, and it likes work with modular design and this kind of stuff. I think he's amazing because he's got a concept of ephemeralization that's like making more space with less material, less energy, and it's like something everybody tries to do it until nowadays. And I think we're going to explore how the model is going to see it, right? If we get a, um, I'm actually I was not going to, but we can try it. Like, let's see what's going to happen.
yeah. So I experimented in one of the clip model with uh, Buckminster Fuller and Geodex. So it has good memory of like and structures of Buckminster Fuller. So I think uh, these two prompts in clip plus VQGAN, I'm pretty sure it is going to generate interesting results. For digital workflows, you, you might need to maybe define it a bit with more specific design cues, but it also can surprise you with digital workflows. But so
Mhm.
yeah, today you can experiment and see like what are the captions it generates, and those captions can help you tomorrow when you're giving the text prompt. Cool. uh, we'll go to the next presenter.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, that was mine. So actually, at the first, I did only one model because when I tried to do the other two, I faced a problem with the software where I added the input and the style, but I didn't found it in the image output, so I didn't know what happened. But regarding this one, I took an image where I actually took it's a skyscraper here in Abu Dhabi, and I wanted it to look like something fluid or like fluid, a mix of something fluid and neon at the same time. So it came like the that output result, and it actually looks really cool. So uh, I might call it fluid architecture or something or neon art. I don't know, but the results was actually cool. And I really wanted to proceed by the two other examples. I wanted to make something related to the pyramids in Egypt and the sea to mix between both of them and to see what's gonna be like. But I don't know why I faced this problem.
Yeah, we can definitely help you out with the script, but I, I like the approach where you have the intent of breaking the rigidity and make fluid architecture, and it's looks like it's pretty successful in that approach. So yeah, we can definitely figure it out. Yeah,
Thank you so
it's
much.
cool.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is that it's like two completely different images, right? Like it's just there's no relation whatsoever. And like sometimes like I guess with these types of like neural networks, it's like you can either get a very like sort of interesting combination or sometimes it doesn't. And it's like one of those things that like you kind of have to like continuously experiment with and like test out things until you get one of those I guess results that you'd like. But this is very interesting. I would say like once I guess if you need help with the notebook, I would also recommend running it with like more iterations, because that usually like returns maybe like a finer output. So we can help you with that if you need help.
Yes, sure. Okay.
Yeah, maybe Daniel, after you do the collab script today, at the end we can do like a debugging for the people who are facing troubles in style transfer.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Thank you.
is it pronounced Ashraquat?
It's pronounced Ashraqat. Ashraqat.
Ashraquat.
Yeah, the Q is a bit difficult, so you can like replace it with a K, but it's a Q.
I'll try. Do you have any like ideas for the theme you wanna develop in this workshop?
Like at the end of the workshop or regarding the notebook?
Yeah, like 3 ideas you would like to explore.
Yeah, I already have some images, and I'm interested in like seeing how the outcome is going to come.
Okay, cool. Sila? Okay. Looks
I
like
don't know. Is she might not
he's
be
not
there.
present. Maybe we can,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, that's yeah. Oh, I think she showed this. It's kind of cool how it like takes the lines and runs the orange on it.
Yeah. Hmm.
Wow, that's
Pretty
interesting.
detailed.
Yeah. That's interesting. It's like sometimes it like works really well, like to completely transfer the style onto it a little. Sometimes it like somehow retains the, let's say like the geometry of it or like the actual semantic thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Oh, okay. That's interesting, right?
Oh, you see like abstract blocks here. This is, yeah. We could do, if you can do like some post processing on this background, this pretty much.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's interesting. Oh, look at that. So using that building with the stone and then you get that stone building. That's cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting too. Oh, but she's not here. I wish she could like tell us like about what she was trying, but all right.
Oh, you can just browse.
Yeah.
Oh, hi.
Oh,
Okay.
I thought Daniel said you were not here.
Oh, I
Sorry,
thought that
sorry,
she was
Jennifer.
talking
Go
about
ahead.
Scylla.
No,
Me
I was talking
neither.
about Scylla because she has some pretty nice images, but I don't think she's in here. And
Oh,
Jennifer, you wanna
um,
share your experience?
sure. Yeah, so these were my first explorations with AI, my like I'm totally new on this. And the first one was with a house, a beach house, and another beach house was with more like colorful background. And then the result was very nice, like as a painting of this beach house. The second one was some projects that I did that were a build project of a furniture wall. The other one was a section cut that I have in the other slide, but then was the zoom problem that I had only like that space. And the result was that one that is like a sketchy. And in the other slide that I don't have it, I have again beach houses like in the forest and an input that is like an architectural drawing. So the output was like this drawing of the beach houses and it creates like the little people and everything. So it was like fun for me, I think. And I was writing. So my topics would be like a contemporary beach house with infinity pool, architectural sketch of a contemporary bamboo house, parametric gable roof made of bamboo. That's what I want to explore.
Oh yeah, I forgot to refresh.
That is the, and then I have like more topics, but more like crazy ones maybe. Fluid architecture house in the sloping terrain, ideal structure city, and I want to know AI design sketch versus an architect design sketch. Like
That's interesting. Yeah.
that's all.
Yeah, that should
So,
be fun with the Q&A.
yeah, for sure. So one suggestion I have is like, it looks like you have a good intent of working with beach houses, but what are you trying to get inspiration or intent from machine? Are you want to change the form, or do you want to play with the texture, or you want to visualize it in totally different environment? I think those kind of direction or design thinking
Oh,
will
I need to
also,
narrow more like what I want from the machine to do.
yeah, so that will drive like what kind of style image you should feed. If you want to play with texture, you could look inspiration from different like texture in like other industries, fashion, textile, or and see how a totally new building texture looks like. If you want to play with fluid forms, then maybe that kind of style will help. So having what modifications you want in the architecture sometimes helps in shortlisting the images.
Oh, okay. So I will search for that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Major and Daniel.
Yeah.
Thank you both.
Thank you, John.
Do you have any thoughts, Daniel?
Um, well, I'm curious. I mean, I like that grid one because that one was on the actual, like you can kind of see it that it's taken like the grid, like it's sort of distorted, like even though like her grid is like very architectural drawing, but it's like kind of distorted a bit, which is kind of interesting. And it still retains kind of like the shape of those like little roof structures. The people is fascinating too. Like it just adds people to it for like the little red people. It's like these little things that you don't think of, and like the machine kind of like catches them and starts placing them. Sometimes they can be like very interesting, and you can kind of play around with that and experiment a little bit more with that. I'm also curious to see like what if we fit it into clip now, like what kind of text is going to generate. Like that's kind of like the other aspect of it too, when you combine these two distinct images.
And I'm just thinking, based on this, I just had a thought. So we saw this image and we like saw the cross section and it's doing the layout. What if there's an image, we have like a floor plan of column beams or a section, and it gives some insight of structural planning. I know it, but it's just a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Is Geo here?
Gio, you in here? I guess not. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, these are cool.
It's interesting how this is
Yeah,
bridging the.
that bottom one, it's kind of like it's really, it's almost like it keeps the shape and then it's still has like the materiality, right? But it's distorting the shape at the same time. So that's kind of interesting. And there's like two different images essentially.
Cool.
So I think my microphone is working now. Can you hear me?
Yep,
Yeah, we hear you.
perfect.
Okay, finally.
Finally.
So I had 3 ideas for this fun explorations, and then later ideas for further explorations. Then can. Well, the first
Whoa.
was, well, I just wanted to have some fun here to understand how these photos would look as if it were concept arts. I mean, this is kind of useful for digital artists to create backgrounds or something like that to their paintings. So I tried to use some of this, and the last one here, I tried to see if the mushrooms would be identified as this megastructure that appear to be mushrooms, and I had this kind of fuzzy and dreamy result. Well, in the next, I tried to do something more practical, because, well, this is a common workflow to having a sketch, to doing a sketch, and then humanize this sketch, becoming more appealing or something like that. And I tried to merge this Mies van der Rohe sketch with the collages made by Paul Atelier to understand if the textures were going to be placed, for example, the ceiling on the ceiling and the wood on the floor. And I was surprised that even the persons were identified. I mean, the hair was is in a different color, the pants, and, well, I think the details were well represented here as textures. And I did some, yes, this is a second experimentation with the same settings. And also the people here are very well represented. I mean, it seems like a handmade drawing or something like that. And this is very interesting because it's I don't know, this process consumes a lot of work hours, and this is kind of useful. And here I tried to use Hugh Ferry's drawing and add some realistic textures. I think I had the same problem with the perspective here that Ricardo has, and well, the next experimentations I tried with the same artist but with a sci-fi environment, and I was very, yes, I was very happy with this experimentations. And this one too, look, the textures, I mean, this seemed like a glass beauty or something like that. And
Yeah, I must say, Fabio, like, I'm really impressed, like, with the way you're thinking, because, like, even with each interpretation, you are trying to solve or think about a question, and
yes,
you also have like some query. Okay, I have this input. What are my expectations, and what's the machine is generating? And
yeah,
it's
precisely.
sometimes pretty damn good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's
Yeah.
really interesting. Like these types of like, it's kind of like collage type images, and like but what's interesting about this is like you're combining like a black and white image and then color, and then that
Yeah.
color is transferring to like surfaces, and it's able to like recognize kind of like those, let's say, like more planar objects, which is kind of cool. I mean, like in this case, this seems like a little bit more useful, like architecturally, I would say. Like if you really
Yes.
want to start playing around with this and that in those
Yes.
regards and develop something out of it. But yeah, I like this part a lot.
Thank you.
And also, you identified that it's generating different like texture, even for like color for a human figure, which is like also interpretation of the final image, and what's good, what's bad is important. So
Yes.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
also
think
think like
this.
what was it?
I was
Go
really
ahead.
Yeah, I was
surprised
gonna.
by
No, I was gonna
results.
say what's interesting about this part is that it like if you're starting to like develop either like a concept or sort of design, like this is kind of like that early stage where like you can play around with
Yeah,
these things and
yes,
then begin
exactly.
to see
And
something like that you might like, and then like your designer eye kind of comes in, and then you begin to like curate these things and put them like
yeah,
together. And
yeah,
it's a collaborative process with like machine learning and like with your own taste.
yeah, exactly. And to achieve this kind of result, it will take hours to draw or to model, to add textures on Photoshop, and this is very, very handy indeed.
We are working on a workflow where
Yeah,
hopefully you can create a 3D model from one single image, and that will
yeah,
save
it
more
would be
hours.
awesome. It would be awesome.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, I think like these questions will also help you today and tomorrow in the exercise where you could
Cool.
like create a like animation, uh, which is tomorrow's exercise. So good work.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi Milan.
Hi. Am I audible?
Yep, yep.
So my three ideas were like the first one, like I'm a car enthusiast and I wanted to design an automobile showroom. So I haven't designed any type of a showroom before. So I wanted to see by giving which all parameters how the output would be. And the second one, the main reason I gave this was because I wanted to see the visual output, as in how the residents would align alongside the waterfront, and what all different iterations would come out of the program. And thirdly, the underground city. In real life, while constructing underground city is really tough, and there are the basic parameters we do follow for getting the for having the minimum standard. So I wanted to see if, rather than the conventional parameters that we give in the real life, I wanted to give my own parameters and see how the output would be from the program. Yes. So initially, when I started this, I just wanted to have fun. So basically, I choose an input image, and after that, the style image which I chose would be just the contrast to the context of the input image. So the input and the style are completely opposite, and I just want to see how the output becomes. So the first one is the Peace Bridge in Calgary, Canada, and the second one is the city of Mohenjo-daro. So Mohenjo-daro, it's like completely dry. There's no sort of vegetation and all. So I just wanted to see how Mohenjo-daro would look like if we are adding plants, trees, and basically vegetation. And the next set, so this is the first one is like kind of like a bridge that is built from the roots of the trees, and it's in Meghalaya. And this is kind of like the transportation that was used in the older generations to pass between mountains or ridges. And nowadays, the main type of circulation that we use are staircases. So I wanted to see the iteration between these two, and I wanted to see the outcome of it. And from the outcome, from this outcome, since I use the style images, the main material would like the plywood, I guess, got incorporated into the style bridge. So it wasn't like the output that I was expecting it to be, but still it was a kind of a different one. And the second one is again this is like a housing community called the Habitat 69. So I wanted to see, this is like kind of like a brutalistic structure, And I want to see what happens if we add a bit of contemporary to it. And that's how the output is kind of like fascinating one. It's kind of like a bit sci-fi, and at the same time, it doesn't look like a structure, but then it's kind of fun to see, to look at it. And the next one is this is kind of like an autonomous building. So I just tried this as an experiment with two images to see the outcome of it, and the incantations of the firework got incorporated into the main building element, and the tesseract from the Marvel movies got like as the light of that tesseract is like illuminating the entire sky. So this is kind of like I kind of like this one personally. And the next one is and yeah, so the next one. So this is again, I was just kind of trying to have fun with this, the skyscrapers in the bright day, and what happens if we are like having a huge thunderstorm, kind of like a very dark one. And on the second set, it's like a meditation palace in Sri Lanka. So and this is surrounded by a huge amount of water body. So I just wanted to see what happens when the season autumn comes to it. And this is kind of like the output I got. It's kind of a scary, but still it's kind of fun to look at. And the next one again, this is just a trial to see what happens if two images go the two style images got iterated with the inputted one. And the output is a bit fascinating, although like personally I didn't like the output I got, but then it's kind of fascinating to look at. And the last one is this is like a kind of like this is called a stupa. So this is where like the all Buddhist monks used to stay, and the style image which I chose was the modern skies in the modern cities. So I wanted to see the blend of ancient and the future technology and how it would become. And the last one was just plainly fun. I wanted to incorporate that thunder image into this hospitality building and see how it would look like. Thank you.
Wow. Those are great.
Super interesting.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I like how you experimented with like a full variety of like colors and just like compositions, and you can kind of see like some pretty interesting results. And yeah, like the one with the tree and the, let's say, the interior of that building was kind of interesting because it's like it's just like no relation whatsoever, right? Like if you go to slide number 36, like that tree up there, the top image, like that's kind of interesting because it's like there's no, like you can't see the original like two images in it, let's say, and then it's generating like something like geometric out of it. So I think that's what I like about this. Like you can get like these sort of new types of, I guess, interpolations in there.
Yeah. And also you can see like how verticality in your content image and verticality in the style image, how it's matching and like crossing. Like, it's keeping the main element here, but it's matching to like column or vertical elements in the style image and mix of both. So dude, I was super surprised by this. Like it's like a camouflage or something.
Yeah, that one's cool. And like, what would be cool about like if, I guess, there's like a mask that you can apply to it, right, in style transfer, and you could probably
Mhm.
take like that image with like the tree and maybe like apply a mask over the building and just change the whole scene, and you can like sort of explore like that part of it too, right? Like you don't necessarily have to use the whole image. Maybe you just take pieces of the image in and out and like sort of iterate on that. So that's another way to explore that. But this, yeah, that image is really interesting too.
Next is Harish.
Hey guys. So what I've done was that I kind of focus more on the textures here. So the style image that I gave were all 3D art that I originally did a while back. So they were very much texture intensive, and I just tried to map the texture onto a couple of Zaha buildings, and then I think the results were pretty good. I tried to keep the iterations 1,000 for just one or two images, but rather the others I kept it very low at only 200. I don't know. I found them. It was really quick to obtain, and nonetheless, it wasn't. Less of a quality. I would say it was decent enough. So I tried lowering the iterations while increasing the size of the output. So I kept the outputs at 1400 rather than the usual 512. So I want in that way, most of my textures got mapped into the entirety of the image. Whereas when I tried it at 512 by 512, I didn't get really good results because the textures were really much. Whereas in comparison to the content image, it didn't get transferred as much. So I tried playing with the sizes of it to get most of my textures into the content image. So yeah, the next one. Yeah, so I tried using more or less 3 to 4 textures for 3 to 4 style images for almost all of my content images. So they're basically the same process, except that here the iterations are a bit low. It is only 200, whereas the size I kept it at 1,000 here, and then the other images of 1,200, 1,400. So in this case, the textures aren't as evident. They appear a little flattened, whereas the other results that I got were a little more, precise. This one, this is more or less a sketch that I obtained from Unsplash, and this is again the Wangjing Soho. So I just tried seeing how it would look like as a pencil sketch rendered with graphite. So it is more or less a very literal transfer of the visual style onto a design. So it looks more or less like how you would use a filter on Photoshop. The next one. In this case, I used a different image, but although it is of the same project, I use the Valencia City of Arts and Science for the content. In this case, I could observe that the cloud that you see on the content image kind of creates some kind of a visual effect that is also, reflective of these two masses in my texture. So whereas the rest of it didn't get transferred as much with the mass of the City of Arts and Science. So it went more or less to the background of it rather than to the subject here. Here
Yeah,
as well,
and
yeah.
I just thought like if you can see like here the diagonal part in your style image and the diagonal part over here aligns pretty well, and that's it's resonating even the diagonal like areas of the sky which
Yeah.
resonates that, and this is opposite diagonal, so that's why it's not, I'm not sure why it's not, this part is not making a lot of difference, but yeah.
Yeah. So the next one. In this case, what I did was I tried putting two style images. This is also another 3D art project that I worked on. So in this case, it is kind of clear. One of them perfectly mapped to the tower here, whereas the pink one went on to the background. So I don't know how it happened, but it just took its place right there. It's more or less very much precise, because the first image doesn't go a lot into the background and the second image doesn't come into the tower. So I found it a little interesting. The next one. Yeah, this is again a literal transfer. Less iterations. I think I could have done something like 1,200 iterations and could have reduced the size of it, but that would have taken me so long. So I just went with a lower count of iterations. The next one. This one was something of an Eastern European city, some castle also. So the same thing. Here as well, the textures are visible on the roofs of this castle, and the background also takes up a bit of the silver portion of my style image. So that is kind of reflective, and I really liked it personally, this part of it alone. So yeah, the next one. This is also the same, less iterations, more size, direct transfer of it. I wasn't pretty much satisfied with this because the image, the style image, sorry, the content image was black and white and just got its colors changed. I kind of expected something to happen in the background though, but it didn't come out as much. Because in the Valencia, that building, the background was like very much prominent, but in this case, it is a little flat, it is a little subtle. So the next one. So this is another texture onto just one. The same thing. The background of my style image got transferred predominantly onto the building, whereas the subject in my style image, something like a dystopian object, so that got a little less of a transfer here. And the background in the output image also takes after the background of my style image, although there is no such texture in the background of my content image. So that was there. The next one. Yeah, so again, like when I did two style image inputs, one of them predominantly went to the background, one came to the subject. In this case, this art deco-ish building. So it, to some extent, it has come into the building as well. If you could see the lower right corner. So, I mean, here it has tried to, barge into the subject, whereas it wasn't the case with the previous two style image examples. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's interesting that like you had like one or two images and you are playing with different content images to see what are the changes.
Yeah, I
What
like
are the
that
three
that you
ideas?
have your. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry. No, I was gonna say that I like that he took this approach of using kind of like his own data set and combine it with like another sort of data set, and then he can sort of, I guess, more or less curate what his outputs are and like stylistically. Also, what's interesting is like the past few images, like where he was saying that when he combines the images, usually one of the images goes towards like the building, and that might be kind of like one of those I guess like feature layers that you explained it before, where the more geometric things is sort of being recognized in the building, and then that's probably why it's sort of transferring those weights directly onto that.
Okay. Okay.
So that, yeah, because the wavy, let's say like shape, it's sort of more fluid in the sense that it probably attaches more to like clouds or things of that nature, whereas like the upper image is more geometric. So it's probably like, because you think about it, like what the neural network is doing is trying to find like correlations between these feature layers, and it's trying to like the things that are sort of more similar, they kind of like stick together in a way.
Yeah.
good. And what are like 3A design themes you want to explore?
That I haven't thought about it yet. Maybe I could do something like quickly right now and then post it on the slides.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, just
Yeah.
if the intent was like once you start thinking about those themes, it will help you in the next two exercises and uh, the
Yeah.
explorations.
Okay.
Awesome. So I know there are few people who were watching live stream yesterday and joined in the Zoom call. So if you guys want to share some of your explorations, we could see and provide feedback. Maybe let me